All right, today's project is the Infiniti. As you can see, the front end sitting up nice and tall. I put a 3-inch lift on the front, 3-inch spacer on top of the coil springs. I put brand new suspension on this truck all the way around a couple years ago. And as you can see, the rear end is sagging. That's because it has air ride in the rear. And basically what happened is the original coil springs, which are supposed to carry the weight of the truck, are all worn out. So the air ride suspension was doing the majority of the work. That caused the air pump to fail twice. I put 2 air pumps on this truck. I'm not putting a third one on it. So what I'm going to do is get rid of the air suspension in the rear, and I got brand new coils to put on and conventional air shocks instead of the air assist springs. So I'm going to get rid of all the air stuff and have it sitting level up with the front, lift it up. Let's get it. So my first step when I'm getting ready to work on my vehicles is getting a good fire going. So I got the old trusty wood stove here. It goes all the way up there. Got my dad's jacket right there looking over me, making sure I don't get hurt. So I'm about to go ahead and get a fire going and then get my TV going so I can have some background noise. Then we're gonna pull the truck in and get to work. All right, here we go. We got the driver's side rear tire off. Got it up on this jack underneath the rear differential with jack stands supporting it. So from what I can tell, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna, of course, remove this old worn out spring by dropping the support right there with that bolt. That one bolt is gonna allow this spring to come out of its perch. And then we're gonna put in a 3-inch spacer at the top, I believe. I'm not sure if it goes on the top or the bottom. I'll find out once I start taking things apart. And then I'm also going to remove this air shock, and we're gonna replace that with just a conventional shock. That was a pretty easy job to do. It just sucks that, you know, I'm taking it out after, I think I only put it in like a year ago, maybe a year and a half, but it is what it is. I'm not doing no more air pumps. This is the air pump back here. So that's, like I said, the second one that I've put in this truck. And I probably should have went with the factory style pump, which would have lasted longer, but ultimately it would have had the same problem because, again, these springs are worn out and they're not supporting the weight of the vehicle like they're supposed to. And it's putting all the strain on the air shocks. So instead of actually just acting like a shock, it's acting like a shock and a spring. And that was making it a really rough ride in the rear of the vehicle with some really bad rebound every time you go over a bump. So let's go ahead and get this thing knocked out. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do, or I already did, is gonna disconnect this ride height sensor and disconnect the ABS wire, because those are attached to the control arm down here. And since this needs to drop, you don't want that putting excess stress on your ABS wire. All right, so spring perch is down, single bolt holding it in place. I'm definitely going to have to put the jack underneath of this, obviously, to get it back up, because there was still a lot of spring tension in there. So it was holding the bolt in. I had to use the impact to back the bolt all the way out, and I'm hoping I didn't mess up the threads doing that, because it was kind of hitting up against the housing right there as it was coming out. But if need be, if it does want to thread back on, I'll just get another bolt. No big deal. All right, so we got the new spring in plus the spacer. I'm a little concerned with this setup, just not knowing if it's going to all fit or not, because it definitely did not want to go in easily. Really had to push that lower pocket way down in order to get this thing lined up. Of course, the original spring just kind of fell right out, no problem. So got another jack under here. I could have probably taken out my floor jack and used that to jack this up, but I wanted the extra safety, I guess you could say. Even though I got the two heavy duty jack stands under there, you can never have too much safety. So it was easier just to get the little scissor jack out and jack this thing up and see if we can get it back into mounting position. Here we go. All right, we got the spring in the perch with the lift spacer in there. Had to take the floor jack to get it done. The scissor jack was not doing the job. A little sketchy for a second there, but one of the main things I will say when you're doing this by yourself, of course, this is going to move around, which is going to move the mounting position. And basically what I had to do was use the handle of the jack to kind of push and pull as it was coming up to get it to align properly to go into the mounting position. Because if it's too far one way or the other, it's just going to want to lift on that knuckle there. So you just got to keep maneuvering it around. Would really help if I had a second set of hands, somebody who could maneuver the knuckle for me to get into the mounting portion of this perch here. But nonetheless, it's in there. Everything's bolted back down. Now all I got to do is just put the ABS line back in place. The ride height sensor is now irrelevant, so I'll probably just take that out altogether. Stay tuned for the shocks coming in next. All right, next step is removing the air spring, air shock. Very simple, just like any other shock. Top bolt, bottom bolt, 3/4 socket. And the only difference is you got to remove the air line. That little silver piece on the end there, you just got to push that inward with a flathead, and that will allow you to remove the air line. Other than that, pretty much the same as taking out any shock. Now, we're going to put back in the standard shock. I'm sure this is some shitty Chinese knockoff that probably won't last very long, but it came with the spring, so I'm going to use it. And here's a pro tip. You never remove the band before you get it into position, because it will decompress, and it will decompress higher than this perch right here, and then you're going to be struggling trying to compress it to get it back down in there. So just seat it in the perch, get your first bolt started, and then cut your band and let it slowly come up, and just kind of be ready there with your second bolt, so you can pass it through as it's slowly coming up. All right, there we go, all installed. Upper and lower bolts in there, springs in there, ABS cable mounted once again so that doesn't get all bound up or anything. So this side is complete. All in all, this was about maybe an hour for this one side. I'm going slow, I'm taking my time, there's no rush. Yeah, so not that bad of a job. Like I said before, this is probably the hardest part right here. You really gotta use your foot to basically push this down while you're using both hands to get the spring up into place. The way I did it was I went up first, so I put the top part of the spring in position first, pushed down with my foot as far as I could possibly go, and then put the back part of the spring onto the little spacer there. Now, if you're not putting in a spacer, this job is a hell of a lot easier. Won't be that hard at all. But if you're doing like I did, putting new springs and a spacer, yeah, you got to use a little effort, and got to have some coordination to be able to use both hands and a foot at the same time. But that's pretty much it. Hope this video helps a few people out. Comment if you have any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Peace. All right, so here it is, finished product. Get over here in the shade. Got the lift done in the back, so now it matches the front. So we now have a 3-inch lift all the way around on our Infiniti QX56 that comes factory with air assist shocks in the rear, but those are no more. Now we only have our regular shocks and new coil springs, giving us a nice 3-inch lift all the way around. Peace.